Welcome to another episode of Box Press. I'm your host, Rob Gagne. I'm at the PCA 2022 show, and I'm sitting down with Desiree Silver from Drunk Chicken Cigars. Desiree, thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Your brand caught me off guard. I was following somebody who was smoking a lot of cigars, and I saw this band that it was actually the Maduro, which is blue, and it has silver, and it has a chicken on it. And I said, who would put a chicken on a cigar band? And then on top of it, what's the name of this? So I quick, chicken cigar, Googled. I don't know what it is. Drunk Chicken came up. I was like, oh my gosh, what kind of creative mind decided to go down this rabbit hole of naming all the cigars after chickens? Where did the name even start as an idea?
So I love chickens. I have chickens as pets.
Okay.
And so I live in the Washington, D.C. area, only about 7 miles out. And my friends come over and they see all my chickens. And are you crazy, girl? What are you doing?
How many chickens do you have?
On a good day, 30. Right now, we're probably about 25. We have animals that come and take them because we free range our chickens.
Awesome.
Yeah, so
not that they come and take them, but they're free range.
Yeah, they're free range.
Do whatever they want.
Yeah, and then at night we lock them up, and at 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning, whenever I wake up, I let them out, and they go right back when it gets dusk, and I lock it. So, but sometimes prey get them. So we're about 25 right now. And we named them all.
Yeah.
And I love chicken. I grew up every summer. My mom's from Jamaica, threw me out there, go hang out in the chicken farm, the cow farm, the goat farm, run around barefooted out there.
So you're a farm girl.
I wouldn't necessarily say that, but I think that I love that more than anything in life.
Sure.
The animals, they don't talk back.
You're connected to animals.
I am.
My wife is connected to animals as well. That actually is energizing to her. She always said, I always have to have a cat or a dog. That's just, before you decide to marry me, that's a stipulation. And that's just good to know, right? Because that energizes her. That calms her down.
Yeah.
So that it sounds like your chicken hobby has really just been a passion project from day one.
Yes.
And now, do you do anything special with the chickens other than raise them? Because some people bring them to shows and all that, the state fair and all that.
No, I just want them to live a good life. We do collect the eggs. I love to buy chickens based on the color of the eggs that they lay.
Okay.
Blue eggs, green eggs, pink eggs.
Pink?
Pink, yes. I get a lot of pink eggs.
Interesting.
I only have...
You're talking about the shell, right?
Yes,
not
the shell.
Not the yolk, right?
They're all the same inside, just like hair color almost. I have some ducks. Was trying to get a goat before COVID happens, and then when COVID happened, the lady that was selling me the goat said, no, it looked like we may have a food shortage. I'm gonna keep my goat, so I didn't get one. I had a couple dogs. One passed away.
Why did you want a goat?
Huh?
Why did you want a goat?
Oh, I just like animals.
You just like animals?
Yeah.
It wasn't like, sometimes people are like, I need the goat to kind of eat the grass or eat this.
No, I just wanted the goat to hang out.
Cool.
I think they're cool. Some of the goats are fainting goats. I wanted a fainting goat that you scare them. They go.
They fall over. Oh, that's great.
But yeah, I just like animals. They're free. They're no judgment. They hang out with you. You pet them. They cuddle with you. What's better in life?
Right. Yeah. So do you have dogs, cats in the house?
Dogs. My dog passed away recently.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, I had that little guy for a long time.
Yeah.
But we're in the process of considering moving, so we're not buying any new animals right now until we decide where we're going to move, what we're going to do.
I wouldn't have thought of that, but that's like a whole new moving process because now you have livestock to move. It's not just furniture and a U-Haul.
Yeah.
It's furniture, U-Haul, and a livestock truck. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, but as soon as we decide, are we staying, are we moving, how long whatever we're going to do, we're just trying to think about our second phase in life. And a lot of the second phase in life is because of the cigars right now.
Really?
Yeah.
So you're thinking of moving out of state or in state?
Out of state. More so Florida, closer to our rollers. We want, my husband recently retired. So he can move wherever. I work remote. I can go wherever. So we're just trying, figure out our second stage of life right now.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And the kids are grown.
Really? How old are your kids?
19 and 17. The 17-year-old graduates from high school and gets an AA this year.
17 graduating from high school?
And getting her AA at the same time.
Smart kid.
And my 19-year-old did the same thing when she graduated. So,
okay, so that's like the total opposite of what technically the culture is doing right now. Like, I feel like most people who are younger are going through high school and then on to college or some sort of secondary and then on to like experiencing their young adult life and then like slowing down in their 30s to get married and then not having kids until they're in their 30s. And it's like your kids are on the total opposite spectrum of this like accelerated through school and on to the next.
Well, they have a mom with a PhD I used to be a professor as well.
Really?
Yeah.
A professor of what?
I used to teach at University of Maryland, UMUC, Strayer University, and I taught any contracting classes, any business class, any finance class.
Wow.
Yeah. So I have a master's in finance, a PhD in organizational leadership. Business.
That's awesome. So did you homeschool your kids? Is that why they're on the fast track? Or like just happens?
I didn't homeschool, but education is very important. So if they want to do extracurricular activities, homework came first and then mommy homework. They always had mommy homework. I always bought workbooks 3 to 4 grades advance. So I sat down, I taught them. They knew how to spell their name before they were 2, both of them.
Wow.
To me, it's very important to sit down with your kids, figure out where they are in their learning process, and teach them at their pace.
That is so true because I'm experiencing that with my small family. I have a 1.5-year-old daughter, and I just had a son who's 3 weeks old, and my daughter was like sign language, and she's talking, and it's like I got to keep feeding that need to like
get workbooks.
Right.
And they love it when they're writing and crayoning, and even if they don't understand it, just have it in front of them and then sit down for 2 seconds and just go through it with them, and you'll be surprised how much they pick up.
That's good advice.
And
the time spent with the child during that development stage is so important to their development.
Yeah, and teaching them their name. Find a song that they love and sing it with their name.
We got the wheels on the bus. She'll do that.
Yeah.
She'll do the wheels on the bus every once in a while.
Yeah, mine was SYDNEYFOUSC.
That's it. That's an advanced
so
one.
that's how I taught her how to spell her name. So when she went to school, she knew how to spell her name. She knew her first and her last name.
That is awesome.
She sang it. She couldn't do it without singing it, but she develops it. So teach them where they are.
I don't know the word for it, but when you use a song or something to help you spell something, there's a term for it, but that's brilliant.
Help you spell, help you learn, do crazy sayings. When I was teaching kids in college, okay, you can't remember this? Come up with the craziest saying in one letter for each thing that you're trying to remember.
Some sort of acronym and a phrase or
It helps.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, I'm that kooky person that believes in education, believes in bettering yourself, and education does not necessarily equate to college.
Right. No, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I never forced my kids to go to college. I forced them to learn.
That's smart.
Yeah.
There's a difference there.
Yeah. And if they want to go to college, what are you going to college for? Figure that out. And what is it that you're trying to do? And do you need a degree for that? If so, how long?
Right.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So
your kids they're going to be set. They got you guiding them.
They're amazing kids. I love them.
I love that.
Yeah.
So, okay. I didn't even know all the professor stuff. So what made you switch over to the cigar stuff?
I haven't switched. I just added into my life.
So you're still a professor?
I would tell you I'm taking more of a hiatus. But if I ever want to be a professor, it's always there.
Okay.
Yes.
So do you have a full-time job right now?
I do.
What is it in?
I'm the program manager for the exchanges at NASA.
NASA. I love it.
Yeah, I never tell anybody that. So
Really?
it's really one of the first times I ever told anybody.
Do
in
you
an
not
interview.
want anyone to know about that?
It's not that. It's just that always people go NASA and they go, Omar was at NASA.
Oh,
And
yeah.
yes, so it's just a coincidence because I didn't even know Omar when he was at NASA.
Yeah, you don't want to steal his thunder.
No, because that's what he does. That's how he's advertised. That and I
it's
don't
not
want
your
right.
story, right?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but I think Omar does amazing things, and so I don't want to steal that away from what he's doing.
Well, that's really humble of you to say. So I appreciate that.
Yeah.
That's super nice because we are all here based on our own journey.
Exactly.
You're here based on your own journey, and so you're absolutely right. You don't want to mimic anyone to try to take their story away and make it less.
Right. And Omar does amazing things. He has amazing cigars, and that's his thing.
He actually came to Minnesota and visited me, and I had a ball hanging out with him.
Yeah.
He's a blast. He knows how to have a good time. He's a great guy.
Yes.
But on your side of things, you decided to launch Drunk Chicken Cigars. Why? What's the why? Like, what makes somebody want to just say, I want to make my own cigar?
They're crazy.
It's not easy.
No, it's not easy, and I didn't expect to, didn't want to, was never my goal. Rico, which is my husband, we decided to make cigars for ourselves because we both smoke cigars, and our running joke was, all right, well, we can only afford one of us smoking today, so which one gets to smoke? Because we were both smoking cigars. And cigars can be an expensive habit. When I'm smoking 2 or 3, he's smoking 2 or 3 or 4 or whatever it is that day. And so that was our joke. And when we ran upon the rollers that we work with today, they were so amazing. Oh, we can make anything you want. We were just making cigars that we liked, that we could enjoy, that with a variety of them, and we blended these 5 with the rollers based on he likes the DCO. It was number 1. The Mother Clucker was great with red wine. That was number 2. Number 3 was the Fat Hand. It was like that shorty nub. I wanted to smoke it at work, 45 minutes. Number 3 was Living a Dream because I was like, it's so smooth, it's so easy, I can smoke it anytime. And Sweet Dreams was my morning or afternoon delight.
That's what we're smoking now, Sweet Dream.
Exactly. So that's why, and we ordered 100 of them, and we numbered them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so we know how to buy them again.
Yeah.
And
so you're literally just building out a portfolio for you to smoke on a regular basis that wasn't going to break the bank.
Right.
Brilliant.
And when we started going to lounges, our friends were, what are you smoking? What's that number 1? Oh, just some cigars we made. Here, have one. Oh, I love this cigar. You should sell it. And we heard it so much that we started investigating. We went to our lounger.
You're just answering kind of like, not really the demand, but like the natural occurrence of people being like, oh, this was good. Where can I get it again?
Exactly. I want one of those. Sell me one. Sell you one. We made 100. I mean, here, have it.
I don't have any to sell. This is my inventory for the month.
Yeah. So we went to our local lounge and said, hey, could you sell this? They smoked it and said, yeah, we love it. But what is this band?
That's powerful right there. So if you give it to a lounge owner, they smoke it, and they think it's good enough to go on the shelf. I mean, it's hard to get shelf space.
Yeah, but we didn't take one lounge owner for our friend's lounge owner. I actually traveled for my job and was in Alabama and didn't know this lounge owner from anybody else. And I gave him a cigar and said, I'm thinking about selling these. What do you think? And he absolutely loved it. He said, I'll buy them. Just you have to change the band. So I heard the same thing again. Love it, but change the band. So
what was the band?
A number 1 on a white piece of paper.
Oh yeah, so super
just so I know what I was smoking.
Yeah, identify this, but there's no formality.
Nothing
to the band.
Nothing. White piece of paper with a piece of tape on it with a number 1.
Yeah, you need to change the band if I'm going to sell this, or it's going to go on the shelf unbanded.
Right. So looked into what bands would cost. Boom, bam, here I am.
Isn't that so cool?
It is, but I mean, if I would have put more thought into it, because I took it as a hobby at first.
Right.
And I went from a hobby into a full-blown business that the two people that said that they would buy absolutely bought, flew to St. Thomas. That same next day flew to St. Thomas after I delivered the two. Got my third order in St. Thomas and been rolling ever since and never put a real business structure together.
What's hard about that?
Now that I'm in full production, trying to go back with ambassadors, business structure together, thinking of it as a business and getting people to change as you change. And people don't like change.
That's
and then it's hard when you don't have that structure already in place. Getting my bookkeeper, when I first got him on board, he was just like, what is this?
Wait, you have a degree in finance. You taught finance, right?
People that do hair always have the worst hair. People that do nails have the worst nails. People that know that, but a lot of bookkeepers tell they have the worst worst tax situation, because when you do it yourself, you don't want to do it for yourself.
Right. Yeah, it's not like something that fulfills you. You're like, okay, I got to do it's like work.
Right, it's
I gotta
real
work.
Yeah. And then on top of that, I remember I was selling by myself. I was shipping. I was packaging. I was marketing. I was, and on and on and on. And by the time it got down to structure and finance, it was just like, it'll get there eventually.
Wow.
I'll catch up.
So total opposite of what all the business books teach us to do.
Not even a business plan.
Yeah.
Business plan what?
You didn't even have a business plan. It was, do you like the
Still
cigar?
don't.
Could you sell it? Okay, I guess that's interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
Business plan up here.
So you're backing up, trying to take a bigger look at everything and cleaning up the rough edges of your entire hobby/business now.
Yes. And it's been a big undertaking. As of November last year, that's all I've been really focusing on, because I have a great sales team and you guys sell. I have a distributor. You guys ship and receive and let me put the structure together. And it's not easy.
No. Because now you got to put on that like project manager / business entrepreneurial hat.
Yes.
And stretch your brain and your mind. So what is the biggest thing right now that you're stretching to learn so that you can keep up with the growth of your business?
So I look at my business and not where I am now, about where I want to go. So now it is always not current thought, it's future thought, and trying to make sure that I have accounted for that with whatever structure I put in place.
Sure. So really what you're stretching yourself to do is pre-plan.
Yes.
Pre-plan what I want to be in the next, and how far out are you looking? A year? 2 years?
No. I have 1 year, 5 year, 10 year, 20 year, and a 30-year plan.
Sweet.
Because
you're building out that business plan as you go.
Yes. And
Smart.
I hope that one of my kids, or if not both, decide that they want to take over. I have 2 girls, but both of them know every cigar, every vitola. Both of them know all the blends, because when I had shipping and receiving, guess who was doing it? I would give them an invoice and say, go package it up and ship it.
It's a family business.
Yeah.
Do they enjoy it, or is it more of like, oh, mom is sucking us in to her passion? And gosh, when she asks us, are you done with your homework? You're like, I don't know if I want to tell you if I'm done with my homework.
That's my youngest.
Yeah, really?
It's a chore.
Okay.
She doesn't like the chores. My oldest is like, okay. Because I do give them payment just like any other job. I pay them. Yeah. So, but my oldest is like, roll up her sleeves. She's into it. She asks me lots of questions. Have you thought about it? Yeah. And I can see her taking over. And actually, I think that my youngest eventually will come around. If she does, she does. If she doesn't, that's okay.
No
she has
big
her
deal,
own life.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You appreciate the help now.
Yep.
And she probably appreciates the money.
That and I do. It's a value in hard work. There's value in that, because she's not going to get. No one's going to get anything easy. And I want. They see what I do. They see how much effort I put into it. So whatever they say, they're not going to say, "Oh, my mom didn't show me how much work is going to be when they get out there," because I did.
You know what I think is funny is, like, if you take the aspect of hard work, it's hard work to get something. You have to work hard for it to get the return. I think it's also hard work to basically be lazy or to try to get a handout. If you actually took that energy that it would take to try to make ends meet or to try to just not to try to coast, you would actually be doing something more productive.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yes.
So no matter what it is, it's hard work. No matter what, as people, we want to work. We want to produce something.
Actually, even I take that a step further, because if you're asking me, well, how did you do that? Well, I can tell you how, and it's probably going to stick in your brain for about 2 minutes. But if you go research how, it's going to stick in your brain a lot more, because you found more value in it. You found more than what I probably could tell you about it.
Yeah, and then if you do it, it's even more stuck in your brain, because it's like, now I have to do it.
Yes.
That's the way I always had to study. It was like, I had to get a partner sometimes, and then I had to be like, okay, this is this, and this is why it's this way, and this is what this means. Because then it was like, oh, I'm teaching myself while I speak it out to you.
Now you know why I love to teach, because as I teach, I grow and learn, because before I can stand up there, I have to understand it. I have to grow it. I have to know it. And so when people ask me the question, I'm able to answer it. And I really don't have a problem with, you know what? It's a great question. I don't know. Let's all look it up together.
Right.
Anybody here know?
Start the journey.
Yeah. Start the journey. It is, learning is so amazing to me.
Okay, so people who are passionate about learning, what's the Desiree rule book? Where are you starting to help you learn better?
For me, I'm an early morning person, so you have to actually know yourself, right? If you're an early morning person like myself, you get up, you have your cup of coffee, and I've already, by the end of the day, this is what I'm gonna do tomorrow. So I'm looking at what my yesterday told me I'm gonna do today.
You're planning for tomorrow already.
Every day.
That's interesting.
Every day.
That's
so
cool.
Before I go to bed, I have a list of things that I didn't get accomplished.
A list. A written out list. How many things would end up on the list? Is it like a 5-point list? Does it depend on the day?
Sometimes so in the beginning of the month, I'll start with a growing list, just grows. Every day, I try to list out 5 or 10 things I want to accomplish, or whatever I feel like is accomplishable for that day.
Sure.
Some things are crossed off. Sometimes nothing's crossed off, but it goes on to the next day.
Sure.
So whatever's not crossed off goes on to the next day. If I have 2 or 3 things that, I'm easy, I'll go to my running list, my big list for that month, and I'll put something else on there. I cross those off. So by the end of the month, I can go back and say, look what I've accomplished.
That's awesome.
It gives me great joy to say, oh my gosh, I made great progress. Without that, I'm always feel like I'm just doing. I'm never accomplishing.
That's where I'm stuck. I'm just doing. I'm not seeing all the stuff I've done to feel good and not. It's almost like you got to get rid of that anxiety, because there's always something new to be done. So the anxiety of always having to do something is always there.
It's a small thing. Take 10 or 15 minutes out your day. The first day is going to be the hardest, because you're going to write down everything that you think you need to do. And then you're going to continue by adding on to that list. Every time you think something, add on to that month list. And then you just every day add on. And at the end of the month, you reward yourself by looking at it and say, look what I've done. It's almost like somebody patted you on the back.
Yeah, you did yourself.
Yeah,
like, oh, look,
and you need that in life, because I used to feel like, oh my gosh, I'm just not doing anything. I don't even know why. This is just endless, pointless. And then until I started to I started doing it in small portions until I started to implement it regular in my life. It's just so much more fulfilling for me now.
It's part of what you do now. But so how long have you been doing this, or when did it kind of start for you?
Probably about 2 years now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was it because of Drunk Chicken Cigars that you needed to start doing this, or was it just personal?
I did it on a smaller scale. I didn't do it every single day. I did a running list for the month. I always did that. To keep up with working full time, being a teacher full time, and with my kids and their schedule.
Keep stuff organized here.
So
we got
I always
stuff
did
to
a
do.
running list, household thing. But now I take 15 minutes out of my day before my day ends, whether it's work day or go to bed, and try to write down those things. And if I forget it, that's okay.
Right.
Right first thing in the morning. Okay. Now let's start my day. Don't hurt yourself, punish yourself for not doing it.
Right.
Just, okay, didn't get it done yesterday. What am I going to do today?
Yeah, don't give up on getting it done.
Right.
Just because you didn't do it during the time period that you thought you would.
Exactly. And then sometimes things get a little bit more complicated than you think. It just moves from one day to the next.
Right. Brilliant advice.
Yeah. I mean, time management is important when you are juggling so many things.
Yeah. And you got a lot of things to juggle.
Yeah.
A lot of things.
Yeah.
So, okay, with everything that's going on, how the hobby has progressed, looking back on it, you've already said you wished you would have had more structure in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
But looking forward, you're talking about planning 1, 3, 5, and so many years ahead. What are the things, or what is the thing that you want to be doing to make sure that you're setting up the future? So we're looking retrospective. We wish we would have set a good foundation. What's going to help you or Drunk Chicken Cigars grow for the future? What are we looking at doing? What's our one thing?
I'm looking at, so I'm kind of doing some market research and seeing what are, some common things I'm looking at JC Newman. I'm looking at Rocky Patel. I'm looking at AJ. I'm looking at the big guys and what is some of the common things that they're doing that are making them successful. And I'm trying to bookmark, gauge those things and seeing where I feel like I can fit that aspect of it into my business. I know it's not necessarily a now thing, but is it a 5-year thing? Is it a 10-year thing? Is it a 20-year thing? And so those are the things that I'm working into my future plan. You have to start looking at who is successful. Why are they successful? What's making them successful? And yeah, I know I'm not going to go out there and do full page ads and giving away 1 million cigars and do a party like Drew Estate right at this point. But there are some commonalities that I can actually gauge and then say, this is where I would like to fit them into my business plan.
So you're doing market research. I love that. To get ready for the future. And you're learning from people who have already done it.
Yes.
So much of what we do is learn behavior from each other, learn techniques from each other. Can anyone really ever say that they've pioneered or done something 100% original?
Albert Einstein?
Really?
Maybe Albert Einstein.
It's very few and far between, right?
Originality is it has a perspective, so it's very subjective.
That's a good way to say it. It has a perspective. It might be original for you, but it's probably not the first time someone's ever done that.
And I would tell you, most things is not the first time anybody do it. It might be the first time somebody's done it that way. First times anybody's seen it that way. First time anybody's presented it that way or presented it to you that way.
Right.
It is. You learn and you don't necessarily just, I'm a copy paste. You copy, you add, you subtract.
That's where the originality comes in. You add your thing.
Right. And then
you do
move
your
forward
way.
with that. And then be true to yourself. Because if I'm going to try to be AJ, I'm going to fail because I'm not AJ. I'm not JC Newman. So I'm going to fail. I'm setting myself up for failure. So be true to who you are, what your values are, and what your beliefs are.
Very well said.
Yeah.
When do you think it's visible when someone's not being true to themselves? How can you sniff that out and recognize it? Because we all can kind of, but what do you think is the tell, the giveaway?
So I don't want to say that I'm, the judge of that or anybody else should be the judge of that. I would tell you that from a person, you need to look within yourself and make that determination if you're true to yourself or not and what that means to you. Because somebody else can look at you and say, you know what, that tie does not really fit your personality. But you look at it and go, yeah, this absolutely is me, And so people are going to judge. People are going to have a thought about who you are, what you are because of what you present to the world, right? But only you can make that determination if you are what you are, how you are, and why you are. So.
Right. Yeah, that's really well said. You're absolutely right. There is judgment. And I suppose I kind of framed it that way. But it's just every once in a while you do see that person who you don't think is living that 100% authentic person that they are. Like they might have just grabbed onto that idea, pulled it in, but they really truly don't fit that. So
if they're not speaking it,
right,
then that's where you start going to ask the questions then.
Right.
So, okay, from that perspective, if you're talking to somebody and they're presenting something to you and they're unable to present it in a manner that feels authentic or feels like they're presenting something that they're passionate about, keep asking questions. And at some point, you're going to go, I'm not exactly sure that you even believe in yourself.
Right.
So.
Well said. I'm a huge go with the flow, and my wife isn't. And it was sometimes we would butt heads, so I've learned how to deal with it. Is your husband a go with the flow kind of guy, or is that always been something that you guys have had to work on?
No, he's structured. I'm not.
Yeah.
And I'm a little OCD on things that he's not
Right.
OCD. So we kind of balance each other in that way.
That's so great.
Yeah,
That's the way I feel about my wife. It's not like we butt heads and then that's end. It's like a okay, conflict, but
Yeah.
let's figure this out so we balance each other out.
Yeah.
And it's super good. Super good. I do have to ask you, in the beginning, was there a moment that you thought this whole thing is probably going to fail? I should just go back to it being a hobby.
Every day.
Every day. What
Every day.
specifically about that though? Like why?
It takes a lot. I mean, when you're talking about future growth, there's a lot of juggling that you have to do to make that happen. And there's a lot of people that are asking questions, that are relying on you, that want to have answers. And I don't know if I always have the answer or the right answer. So there's times that, a lot of times I go, yeah, I could just smoke cigars. And
Yeah.
I tell people, when they go, when I get negativity, let me tell you something. I will smoke every single one of these cigars by myself and be a happy camper before I let you make this negative impact on me.
Right.
So I am not going to take that negativity and own it. I will smoke them all and be happy.
Sure. Yeah, because that's how you started, right?
Yeah.
Like, these are all cigars I like.
Yeah.
Okay, well then that's a great segue into, do you try to apply customer suggestions to your brand, or is it a select vetted few that you rely on?
No. I even when going from the hobby to business structure, one of the first things I did was grab people from all over, focus groups, and say, hey, would you smoke this cigar? Yeah, sure, but you have to come on this Zoom with me if you're going to do that. And when you're smoking it, all I want you to do is tell me about the cigar, what the notes are, what are you feeling, what are you learning, tell me. And I took those notes and used those for my description. So,
oh, great.
Yeah, so those descriptions aren't just my thoughts. Those are, it wasn't select few. People I met, people I was introduced to from New York, California, Florida, there were people all over we were quarantined. And
Right.
so I took that as, we're home, let's smoke a cigar and let's talk about it. So I gave away some cigars to people. I'll mail you this. Only thing I'm asking you is to show up on this Zoom. And 90% of the people did it.
That's so cool.
And so did I take their suggestions? Absolutely. And I still do. When I did the homicidal hen, people kept saying, oh, it's not full body enough. It's not full body enough. So I try to make something that was fuller. That's why I made the homicidal hen. And I went out and started asking people. I went through about 30 iterations of that before I got people going, I love that. I love that. Repeat it. I love that. I love that. I love that.
30 iterations.
Or more. I just kept changing, kept adding. And then I realized something through the process. People confuse body with strength. So I'm hearing I want something full body, and I'm trying to make something stronger in strength. But what they're telling me is they want more of a spice and stronger, and I like smooth cigars. So I'm making cigars smooth but fuller in strength. So that's something was a learning process for me, hearing my customers say one thing and interpreting different.
Right.
So the next time I make a cigar, I hope it's going to be fuller in body. It may be a milder, maybe a medium cigar. It may be in strength. It may be a fuller
Right.
strength. But I'm understanding now from what, when they're smoking it, well, I love this, strength or the body, but we're not always speaking the same term.
That's so true. And we get that question all the time. And I even get it confused. It's like, is this strength or is this body? Because strength can be hidden inside a very well blended cigar.
Yes.
So people are like, hey, is that a strong cigar? I'm like, I am the wrong person to ask because I actually do not know if it's strong. What I know is it blended well to the point where I'm liking it? Yeah, I like it. Or, well, was it strength or body that threw you off, like that you didn't like it? I go, I don't know. It was like boom, and it was like, I don't really like that.
Right.
So
right. Yeah. So that's one of the things that I've learned through this process. That when listening to my customers, I'm learning to ask different questions now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you kind of have like a little playbook of questions.
Yeah. So when you tell me, oh, I want a full body cigar. Okay. So what is it about the cigar that makes it full body to you? Is it more spicy? Is it like heavy when you smoke it? Or is it that you get more of a nicotine kind of rush in your head? Because there is a difference.
Okay. So if somebody says they like the flavor, I want a stronger cigar. I want more flavor.
That's more
body. If they say I want a stronger cigar, I'm not getting the nicotine buzz. That's strength.
Strength, yes.
That's a good way to put it.
Yes.
Thank you for clarifying that because it's always difficult to put those two together.
Yeah. So I say, my mother Clucker, I used to say it's spicy. People go, that's not spicy. To me, it's spicy, but they're looking for a spicy, harshness that I call harshness. They call body. So it's just different terminology, different way to describe it, but I'm learning.
That's so great. So as you've developed your palate, what's the Desiree top 3 to get it better and better every day? What are the top 3 exercises or tips or tricks that you're using to get a better palate for cigars?
You know what?
Or maybe it's just one.
One thing for me is I'm not always going to rely on my palate anymore. I relied on my palate because I was making the cigars for me.
Right.
Now I'm in a different position. I'm making cigars for customers. So I'm not going to rely on my palate. So developing my palate is a great thing, but making sure I listen to my customers, getting customer feedback, understanding what I'm hearing when I'm talking to people at different events and things like that, and seeing what's new out there and why it's so new and sexy, and seeing if that's something I should or should not incorporate.
Right.
So I'm trying to keep my eye and ear and palate on the market.
That's perfect. What things though? Okay, so as much as we ask customers what they want, how they want it, sometimes there's a saying that the customer doesn't know what they want. And then there's also this aspect of trying to go above and beyond the customer's expectations. So how are you trying to go above and beyond or deliver something possibly that's far superior than what the customer is even asking for?
So for me, again, being true to myself, I am making cigars that are high quality, well constructed. What these cigars are made, smooth cigars, consistent. See, so that's what I'm trying to deliver now. Consistency, quality, and something that when you pick up a Drunk Chicken cigar, you're going to go, this is what I picked up the last time.
Okay.
So that's why I'm trying to.
Did you struggle with that before, like early on?
I did, yes, because we bought from we source our tobacco, so not every pallet that we buy is going to be the same. So I learned that I have to anytime we do new pallets, making sure that we may have to tweak it a little bit. Yeah. So we learned that. So consistency, quality.
Because it's not like a recipe where you can say add a cup of sugar add 2 cups of flour, and boom, you're going to get this magical cigar.
Exactly.
It might be that you need to cut some of that one out. It's not a cup of that anymore. It's only a 3/4 of a cup.
Exactly.
And you got to add this one. And then actually we have to add a little bit of this one to mellow this all out.
Yeah, so we definitely, anytime we get new pallets, test it against some older ones that we've had, making sure that the consistency is there. So yeah, and then I learned that I can't roll my darker leaves at the same time I do my lighter leaves. The darker leaves shrink up a little bit tighter than the lighter leaves, and when you get on a roll and you're doing the lighter leaf and you start rolling the darker ones at the same time, well, they're going to shrink up harder, and so it caused a problem with sometimes with the pull and the draw.
Sure.
Yeah, so
that's interesting. So you're changing up the density of the cigar based on the way it's going to perform.
Yeah, so now we roll 1 blend a day. So we're not, or 1 size a day. So we're not.
Yeah, because it's like muscle memory, right?
Yes.
You can't go from one to the other without having some failures with trying to figure out how to change.
Well, we did that and we learned the hard way.
Really?
Yeah.
So learning the hard way, does that mean you had to buy back product, comp it, take the responsibility?
Yep. All of that.
How does that affect you and your business?
I affect the bottom line. I mean, it costs me money, but at the end of the day, it's a learning process. And if you're in business, you need to be able to take it on the chin sometime. You need to be able to apologize. You need to be able to say, hey, this happened, and here you go. These are 100% hand rolled. There are absolutely no machines involved. People have bad days. You're going to have a bad stick every once in a while. But, we are here to hopefully make your smoking experience better.
Right. And have as minimal amount of hiccups as possible.
Minimum.
Do you have any cigars that you thought this is going to just be a massive hit and it just turned out to be a flop and you had to scrap it?
So I made a cigar for a shop out in Texas, and we called it the Extreme, and we launched it. We had more problems with the Extreme, getting it launched, trying to get that band made. We just really had
so
problems.
Not even the cigar, it was like all the other ancillary things alongside of it.
And then we sat back and looked at everything and said, look, we have 14 or 15 different Vitolas right now.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, we only have, at the time, we had 7 blends.
7 blends, but 14 different Vitolas. Gotcha.
Yeah, it was 15 or 16 at the time. And we were like, what can we need to be good at this group here and consistent with this group. And maybe we're moving faster than we should.
Sure.
So not that the Extreme wasn't good, but the Extreme was the last. Extreme we were having problems with. Bye-bye Extreme right now.
You gotta pull that energy elsewhere.
Yeah. So we
That's
pulled it
so
back.
smart as a business owner and just as a person in general. Why keep dumping energy into something that's not going to produce?
Right. And it may produce later,
right.
But right now I'm enjoying the boxes I made.
Exactly.
And they're great smokes, but I can't put the energy in trying to launch it for sale right now.
Right.
I need to establish my brand, and that's the most important. And then once the brand is established, then we'll start adding more in. But I don't see in our next 3-year plan any new cigars until we are a little bit more established.
That's awesome. The next 3 years, you're just going to dedicate to making what you got going just that much better.
Yeah.
The consistency and the reliability that is going to come from Drunk Chicken Cigars is just going to be on point. So
Yes.
we know every time we pick one up, it's always going to be similar. Not the same, but it's going to be that cigar we expect it to be.
Yeah. Yep, it's going to be, yeah. So we're focusing on our brand right now.
I love that. So smart. Love it. Okay, give me the Desiree top 3 cigars. I'm going morning, afternoon, and night. What cigars am I joining you with for morning, noon, and night?
Morning, I'm definitely doing a Sweet Dream.
Sweet Dream in the morning goes great with coffee. It's got that nice sweet tip. but not over sweetened to the point where it's an infusion.
Right.
It's just a nice sweetness right on the mouth. Do you sweeten the rest of the cigar, or is it just the mouthpiece that you sweeten?
Just the mouthpiece.
Got it.
I'm a big thing on infused cigars. I'm concerned about how the infused process. Not all infused is the same infused.
Right.
And when you're burning it, what are you burning?
Right.
So you're typically not burning past there. So
Right.
you're not burning anything but when you do that. So my perspective only, and I haven't done enough research on it to give it any more thought than that.
Got it.
So
What's my afternoon cigar?
in the afternoon, I typically like a medium cigar. So I either go with a Fat Hand, Mother Clucker, or Living the Dream. More Fat Hand, Mother Clucker. Because I want a little bit more body. I'm into my groove. I'm like top speed.
Yeah.
So I can burn off a little bit more. The afternoon, depending on how many other cigars I smoked that day. If I
You mean
smoked
the
a lot
evening?
in the evening.
In the evening, okay.
Yeah, evening. I'm sorry. If I smoked a lot of cigars, I'm going with something light again because I've already smoked a lot of cigars.
So yeah, some people will go light, medium, full, and you're going light, medium, light.
Yeah.
Let your palate cool down, still enjoy that great cigar, but not overpower your palate.
Yeah, I want to cool down, chill out, relax. Sometimes
which
I
one
get a
are
little
we
bit
smoking?
more buzz with the fuller cigars. And I don't really like that
Okay.
for myself. But if I'm going to do it, I'm drinking whiskey and I will have a full cigar, but I'm not leaving my house either.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what's that evening cigar on the light side that you're grabbing for? You going back to the Sweet Dream that we started the day with?
Either Living the Dream or Sweet Dream. Sweet Dream sometimes when can be a little bit much on the sweetness when I'm doing whiskey or something like that. I don't really want the competing flavors. So I will go with the Living the Dream that's really smooth and doesn't compete with anything.
Nice.
Compliments.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for sitting down with us, running through how you ended up starting this amazing brand. Check it out, everyone, at drunkchickncigars.com. It's phenomenal artwork. The naming and the whole convention behind it is just a blast. Desiree, thank you for joining me.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate you having me, and I look forward to hanging out with you for the rest of this weekend.
Absolutely. I can't wait. That's another episode of Box Press. We're wrapping it up here at PCA. We got more interviews coming. And as always, protect those cigars with Boveda. Have a blessed day.